Alrighty, folks, we got a couple of new additions to the rock stockpile. Let me see if I can get through this without feeling rushed. I know I'm behind the 8 ball on the White Snake box set. I'm almost done with it. I just kept having stuff pile up on my doorstep. I don't know where it keeps coming from. I don't know if you noticed, but since I did that unboxing, I had 4 new arrivals, 4 new releases, and then now this is my second new arrivals, new additions. So it all decided to show up at one time. So first on the list we have Quiet Riot, the Randy Rhoads years. Now I had this on my want list for about 6 months maybe. Finally came across a decent price. I didn't even know this thing existed. I'm a huge Randy Rhoads fan, and probably my favorite guitar player of all time. And I really didn't even know this thing existed. I saw it and I was like, "What in the world is this?" Of course, I gotta get this. And it's good. He hasn't incorporated his classical style into this playing too much, because this is still early 70s Quiet Riot. So this is early 70s, this is late 70s Quiet Riot. So they haven't, they're still heavily into Slade and Sweet, if you hear the songs. There's one song on here called Laughing Gas, which is basically Randy Rhoads' showpiece. It's a live number. And it's pretty cool because there's some Brian May in there, Randy playing Brian May, and then also you get I swear there's a riff in that thing that sounds just like "Am I Evil" from Diamond Head. Is Diamond Head listening to Quiet Riot? Because like I said, these recordings are from the late 70s. Diamond Head's Lightning to the Nations, I think it came out in 1980. So it's good. This is actually the first Quiet Riot purchase I've ever made. I do own Metal Health, but I stole that from my brother who bought it back when it came out. And but even though I wasn't a big Quiet Riot fan, it incensed me that my brother liked it because it was a metal band and his favorite music was like Duran Duran and the Culture Club. So it irked me that he had it. So I stole it from him after he got tired of it, which was probably about 3 months. So anyway, after that, this is my second addition to my Quiet Riot collection. So much for making this a quick video. Then we got Savatage, The Wake of Magellan. I told you guys before that I was on a John Oliva kick, and John Oliva sings on a couple tracks on here, so I had to get this one. This is not a bad album, really. I think I've heard pretty poor things about this one. Did Darcy Six Strings have this ranked as his least favorite Savatage album? I mean, that's still possible to happen, and it'd still be a good album, considering their discography. Of course, the John Oliva tracks are the best tracks. And there's a couple of good Zach Stevens tracks on here. But, when you listen to it, you sometimes forget that you're listening to Savatage because it sounds so much like a Trans-Siberian Orchestra album. Chris Caffrey's guitar work on here is also stellar. And speaking of John Oliva, we got John Oliva's Pain. This is a little EP that he released after his debut, which is called Taj Mahal, apostrophe, capital T-A-G-E, as in Savatage, Taj Mahal. That was the John Oliva's Pain debut. If you are a Savatage fan, a John Oliva fan, you've never heard that album, you need to hear that album. It could have easily come right after Hall of the Mountain King. So this was a little one that he put in between that album, and then the second album was called Maniacal Renderings. So there's 2 tracks from that album on here. One's an edited version, one's a full version, and then there's another song on there, and then there's 2 songs from the from Taj Mahal, 2 live recordings on here. So it was good, just something to add to the collection. Like I said, I've been on a John Oliva kick, so now I guess I'm trying to buy everything that has John Oliva on it. And next up, the Marshall Tucker Band, Just Us. Now, when I was buying this, I left the price sticker on there. That is not the price I paid. Thank God. I don't mean that to sound like that, like it did. When I saw this, it said the release date was 2005. If I didn't say this is Just Us, that's the title of the album. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me give it a shot. Outlaws have come back around. Their last couple of albums have been really strong. Let me see what Marshall Tucker Band's up to in the 21st century. Well, this is a reissue remaster. This album actually came out originally in '83, I believe. So it's not bad. It's pretty good. I mean, there's still lots of Marshall Tucker Band hallmarks in here. It's a little clunky in some spots because you can tell, you know, Southern rock bands had a hard time going into the 80s. The record companies were trying to steer them away from the Southern rock sound. A lot of them, they tried to steer into AOR territory. And there's a couple of moments like that on here. It sounds kind of clunky, you know, or they're playing along with something that sounds like classic Marshall Tucker. And then they're like, okay, let's do a little musical break here and throw a little AOR sounding stuff in here. But overall, it's a pretty good album. There's plenty of classic Marshall Tucker Band attributes here. So Marshall Tucker Band, Just Us. Then we got Pentagram. Let me see. First Daze Haze, the Vintage Collection. I heard about this one on Sea of Tranquility. They were talking about. Now I don't have all of Pentagram's albums, but I have most of them. But this is a compilation that has a bunch of their stuff from the 70s. So Pete Pardo and the guys were talking about what a great record this was, great compilation this was. And it's not really a greatest hits because these are all like singles and demos and stuff like that, but it's all top quality and it's really good. Pretty good stuff. So if you like Pentagram, you haven't heard this, I would definitely check it out. And last but not least, we have the Suicide Twins, Silver Missiles and Nightingales. If you don't know who these guys are, that's the artist formerly known as Nasty Suicide, now known as Nasty Superstar, on this release anyway, and Andy McCoy, both of Hanoi Rocks fame. They released this album, dang, I forgot when this thing came out. It was the mid-'80s, 86 probably. This kind of become like a cult classic. I purchase all the stuff I can find on ex-Hanoi Rock members' side projects. This was always been quite pricey, so it was a reasonable price, so I snatched it up. It's good. If you like Hanoi Rocks, you take the most mellow yet eclectic bits of Hanoi Rocks and mix it with the Kinks. No, I'm not kidding. The folk rock, country rock type stuff Kinks do, mix that with the mellow eclectic stuff from Hanoi Rocks, and that's what this album is. Except for the very last track. There's like Countrified Inner City Blues. That's kind of like a dance rock number. Or house rock. keyboard. It's like a dance track. There's a guest girl on here that wrote that song. I forget her name. But most of the album's pretty good. Alrighty. There's 6 more for you to add to the rock stock inventory. You guys let me know what you picked up. Have a good one.